Absence diminishes mediocre passions and increases great ones, as the wind extinguishes candles and fans fires. François de la Rochefoucauld. Have you ever noticed what makes someone crave your attention, realize your self-worth, and suddenly want you more than ever? It's the moment when you decide enough is enough. It's the moment when you decide to move on, to focus on yourself and your own growth. It's like they're struck by a lightning bolt of regret, realizing what they've lost, and then they start chasing you, obsessing over you, like you're the only thing that matters. They didn't see it coming, but now they can't imagine life without you. That's the power of stepping back, of reclaiming your strength and letting them feel the full weight of your absence. But here's the raw truth. This isn't just some random twist of fate. Yes, my Stoic warriors, it's the consequence of reclaiming your power, of stepping back and letting them feel the gaping void your absence creates when you shift your energy inward. You force them to confront the painful reality of your absence. They are left to face the haunting realization that they took you for granted, and now they can't stand the thought of losing you. As the saying goes, don't chase, let them realize they need you, not the other way around. And it doesn't stop there. As you continue to focus on yourself, you become even more magnetic, even more desirable. As someone hit the home, attract them with your silence and make them crave your attention. They start to see what they're missing, and the regret only deepens. They're left craving your attention, longing for a connection they didn't value when they had it. So if you're ready to harness this power to make them realize just how much they need you, then get ready. We're diving into 9 undeniable truths that will show you exactly why they only want you when you no longer want them. This isn't just about shifting the balance, it's about taking control. Let's dive in and reveal the strategies that will put you in the driver's seat of your own life. But before we dive in, here's a challenge that will set the stage for what's to come. If you're ready to become that person who effortlessly occupies their thoughts, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I deserve better." This isn't just a catchy line, it's a commitment to mastering these Stoic skills and turning yourself into someone unforgettable. Let your thoughts and actions leave such a powerful imprint that they can't help but think about you over and over again. Let's see who's ready to embrace this mindset and start mastering the art of becoming an irresistible thought in someone's mind. Let's dive in. Number 1. The power of absence. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Seneca. Seneca emphasizes the power of absence in controlling our desires. When we stop craving attention or affection in a relationship, we become emotionally richer and less dependent on the other person for our happiness. The first point on our list, the power of absence. Now you might be thinking, really just being absent can make someone want me more, and the answer is a resounding yes. Let's break it down and see why this seemingly simple concept packs such a powerful punch. You see, when you're always around, texting, calling, showing up, they start to take you for granted. It's like having Wi-Fi. You only notice it when it's gone. Your constant presence becomes something they assume will always be there, like that extra slice of pizza in the fridge until suddenly it's not. And that's when things start to get interesting. Imagine this. You're always available, always there when they need a shoulder to lean on or someone to hang out with. They know you'll answer the phone at 2 a.m. if they call. They know you'll drop everything to spend time with them. But then one day you decide to step back. You focus on your own life, your own growth, and you stop being so available suddenly that guaranteed attention is gone and they're left wondering what happened. This is where the power of absence kicks in. Your absence creates a void, a gap in their life where you used to be. And here's the thing about voids. They don't like to be empty. They crave to be filled. Your absence forces them to confront the space you once occupied in their life, and they start to realize just how much they miss your presence. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely put it, "It's impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." When you're constantly there, they think they know everything about you, about your availability, about your value. But when you step back, they're forced to reevaluate. They realize they didn't appreciate you as much as they should have, and that's when they start to want you even more. Now let's add a dash of humor here. It's like when your favorite TV show ends on a cliffhanger, and you're left hanging, desperate to know what happens next. Your absence is that cliffhanger in their life. They're left thinking, wait, did I miss the finale? What's going to happen now? And here's the real kicker: absence doesn't just make the heart grow fond, it makes the mind race. They start imagining all the things you might be doing without them, all the fun you're having, all the new people you're meeting. Suddenly they're no longer the star of your show, and that's when they start wanting to be part of the story again. But let's be clear, this isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about understanding your own worth. It's about recognizing that you are valuable, and that value doesn't diminish just because someone doesn't see it right away. As the great Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury by stepping back and focusing on yourself. You're not just showing them what they're missing. You're showing yourself what you deserve. So folks, embrace the power of absence. It's a tool, a strategy, but more importantly, it's a reflection of your self-respect. When you step back, you're giving them the chance to realize just how much you mean to them. And if they don't realize it, well, that's their loss, not yours. Keep growing. Keep focusing on yourself. And remember that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to simply be less available. This journey isn't just about making them want you. It's about making sure you want yourself even more. So go ahead, embrace your worth, and let your absence speak louder than words, because when you value yourself, the right people will start to value you too. And folks, before we move on to the second, you have a question in your mind, that why do they only realize your value when you no longer want them, right? So the answer is, it's a scenario many of us have encountered. You've spent time and energy on someone only for them to take you for granted. Then something shifts. You decide enough is enough. You stop chasing, you stop caring, and you start focusing on yourself. Suddenly they're struck by a jarring realization of your worth, and they begin to crave your attention. But why does this happen? Why do they only realize your value when you no longer want them? The answer lies in the psychological and emotional dynamic of human behavior. When you're always available, always giving, people can easily fall into the trap of taking you for granted. They become accustomed to your presence, your attention, and your care. It's human nature to undervalue what is readily available. But the moment you decide to withdraw, to reclaim your energy and focus it inward, everything changes. This shift in dynamics forces them to confront the reality of your absence. Suddenly, what was once taken for granted becomes painfully noticeable. They start to realize the depth of what they're losing. A dependable presence, a source of support, and perhaps even a source of love. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury by stepping back and focusing on yourself. You're not just taking back control, you're changing the narrative. When you stop being there, they are left with a void, and that void triggers a deep sense of regret and longing. They begin to realize that your value wasn't in your constant presence, but in the uniqueness of what you brought into their life, something that no one else can replace. This is the moment when they start to see your true worth, and it hits them hard. Moreover, by focusing on your growth, you naturally become more magnetic. Your self-confidence grows, your energy changes, and you start attracting more positivity into your life. This only intensifies their regret, because they now see a version of you that is even more desirable, yet more distant. In essence, they realize your value when you no longer want them, because you've taken away the comfort of your presence. You've allowed them to see what life is like without you. And in that absence, your worth becomes glaringly obvious. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes stepping back is the most potent way to make someone realize they can't afford to lose you. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding human nature and using it to reclaim your own power and worth. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What questions are running through your mind right now? Throw them out in the comments. I'm here to help you navigate through this journey. And if everything's clear so far, hit that thumbs up like this video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now let's get ready to unravel the next thing they might feel, which is even more impactful, so you definitely don't want to miss it. Stick around because we're just getting to the heart of how your absence can make a profound difference in their life. When you remove yourself from a situation or relationship, you create a vacuum, a void that cannot easily be filled. In Stoicism, absence carries great power. As we step away from something, whether it's a person or an opportunity, the true essence of what that thing means becomes clearer. Often, others will begin to appreciate what was once taken for granted. This concept goes beyond mere romantic relationships. It applies to friendships, professional networks, and familial ties as well. When you no longer crave approval or attention, your absence becomes your greatest strength. The person who once had your full focus suddenly feels the loss, and with it comes a profound realization. You mattered more than they ever acknowledged. The power lies not in your presence, but in your absence, which ignites their newfound awareness. Number 2. The shift in dynamics. It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them. Epictetus. The shift in dynamics. This one's a game changer, and it's all about how the balance of power can flip when you decide you're done chasing. It's like switching the rules in the middle of a game. You go from playing defense to playing offense, and suddenly they're the ones trying to catch up. Let's paint a picture here. Imagine you've been putting in all the effort texting, first making plans, bending over backward to keep the relationship going. You're basically a one-person cheerleading squad, always rooting for them. But what happens when you decide you know what I'm done? You stop putting them on that pedestal, and instead you start focusing on yourself. It's like that moment in a movie where the underdog finally realizes their worth and stops trying to impress everyone else. And guess what happens next? The dynamics shift. Suddenly, you're no longer the one seeking validation they are. They start to feel that change, and it throws them off balance. This shift is powerful because it forces them to see you in a new light. As the great Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquered." Able when you stop giving away your power and start reclaiming it. They can't help but notice you're no longer bending to their will, and that makes you incredibly intriguing. Think about it like this: when you're always available and eager, they know exactly where they stand with you. But when you pull back, when you stop being so predictable, it creates a sense of mystery. Suddenly they're not sure if they still have your attention, and that uncertainty can be downright irresistible. Here's a fun example. Remember that time you were really into a TV show, but then the plot got a little boring, so you stopped watching, but then your friend tells you the latest episode had a crazy twist, and suddenly you're hooked again. You start binge watching to catch up all, because the show went from predictable to surprising. That's exactly what happens when you shift the dynamics in a relationship. You go from being that steady, predictable presence to someone who's a little harder to pin down, a little more interesting. And let's not forget the humor in this situation. It's like when your cat suddenly decides to ignore you, and now you're the one desperately trying to get its attention. You're sitting there with the catnip saying, "Come on, Fluffy, I'm right here," but Fluffy's off doing their own thing. And now you're the one feeling left out. That's exactly how they feel. When you shift the dynamics, they're suddenly the ones trying to win you back. But remember, folks, this isn't about manipulation. It's about recognizing that relationships are a two-way street. If you've been doing all the heavy lifting, it's time to let go and see if they're willing to step up. And if they do, great. If not, you've just made room in your life for someone who will appreciate you without needing a reminder. So embrace the shift in dynamics. It's a powerful reminder that you deserve to be valued, not just by others, but by yourself. When you stop chasing, you create space for people to come to you, and those who truly value you will rise to the occasion. Keep focusing on your growth, your happiness, and your journey. And remember, you're not just changing the dynamics, you're changing the game. Relationships thrive on a delicate balance of power and expectation. When one person desires the other more, a subtle imbalance occurs. This imbalance shifts dramatically the moment you stop wanting them. As Stoicism teaches, your perception and internal judgments shape reality far more than the external circumstances. The moment you regain control of your desires, the entire dynamic of the relationship shifts. In psychological terms, the person who once held the upper hand starts to feel a change. They are no longer the center of your world, and that causes discomfort. The Stoic principle of mastering your desires and judgments leads to a new level of independence and self-sufficiency. With this shift, you command respect because you no longer seek validation or approval. Number 3. The allure of independence. He who is self-sufficient is never in want of anything. Seneca. This concept is a game changer, and it's absolutely crucial to understanding why they suddenly want you when you no longer want them. Imagine this scenario. You've been the one always reaching out, always available, always making time for them. They've grown used to it, maybe even taken it for granted, but then something shifts. You decide to focus on yourself, your growth, your happiness, your goals. You stop waiting around for their calls. You stop rearranging your life for them, and you start living for you. Now, here's the kicker. Independence is incredibly attractive. It's like flipping a switch in their minds. Suddenly, they see you thriving on your own, and it hits them like a ton of bricks. You're not just the person who was always there for them anymore. You're someone who's building a life growing and shining without needing them. And that, my friends, is when the tables start to turn. Marcus Aurel once said, "He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe." When you live in harmony with yourself, you radiate a sense of peace and confidence that is undeniably attractive. It's this inner strength that draws people back to you often when they realize they're no longer the center of your universe. But why does independence have this effect? It's because independence signals self-worth. When you're independent, you're telling the world, "I'm valuable on my own. I don't need anyone to complete me." And trust me, folks, people notice. They start to see what they're missing. A person who is whole, self-sufficient, and living life on their own terms. This is the essence of the allure of independence. Imagine you're at a party. There's someone there who's friendly, chatting with everyone, but not particularly standing out. Then there's someone else who's confident, comfortable in their own skin, moving through the crowd with ease, not desperate for attention, but fully enjoying themselves. Who are you more drawn to? Probably the latter, right? That's the allure of independence in action. When you embody independence, you become that person who doesn't need to chase after anyone's approval. You're busy chasing your own dreams, and that's far more compelling. It's this confidence and self-assurance that makes others want to be a part of your life, even if they didn't see your value before. Now let's be clear. Independence isn't about shutting people out or being aloof. It's about prioritizing yourself, your goals, and your well-being. It's about showing that while you value relationships, you don't depend on them for your happiness. This subtle but powerful shift in mindset changes how others perceive you. They start to see you as someone who is desirable, not because you're always available, but because you're living a full, rich life that they want to be a part of. And here's where the magic happens. When you focus on your independence, you naturally attract more positivity and opportunities into your life. You're not waiting around for someone to give you validation because you've already given it to yourself. This is when they start to miss you, to crave the energy and confidence that you exude. So what's the takeaway here? Embrace your independence, cultivate it, use it as a powerful tool to not only enrich your own life, but also to make others realize what they've lost when they took you for granted. Remember, folks, you are your own greatest asset as you continue to grow and thrive on your own. You'll find that those who didn't see your worth before will start to see it clearly, and by then, it might just be too late for them. In the end, living independently is about loving yourself enough to know that you don't need anyone else to validate your worth. So go out there, live your best life, and watch as others realize just how much they want to be a part of it. Stay strong, stay focused, and most importantly, stay true to yourself. Your independence isn't just attractive, it's magnetic for the Rarity Effect. There is something innately attractive about a person who no longer needs anyone else to complete them. Independence is alluring because it signals self-sufficiency, confidence, and inner peace. When you no longer want them, you embody the Stoic ideal of self-reliance. Others notice this shift, often finding themselves drawn to you because you are no longer tethered to them. This newfound independence disrupts the dynamic of the relationship. What was once a chase has now turned into admiration. Independence shows strength, and strength in turn commands respect and even desire. Number 4. The Rarity Effect. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca. Now this one's a game changer, and it's something that hits right at the heart of why they only want you when you no longer want them. You see, people are naturally wired to desire what they can't easily have. It's like how that last slice of pizza becomes 10 times more desirable when you realize it's about to be gone. The same principle applies to relationships. When you make yourself less available, you become rare, and that rarity increases your value in their eyes. Imagine this: you're always there, always available, always ready to drop everything for them. They get used to it. They start thinking that your attention is something they can count on no matter what. But the moment you step back, something fascinating happens. Suddenly they start noticing the space you leave behind. They begin to realize that your presence was not something to be taken for granted. And just like that, you've gone from being a common presence in their life to something rare and valuable. It's kind of like how we treat everyday objects versus rare collectibles. You wouldn't think twice about losing a pen because you can get another one anytime. But lose a rare limited edition item, you'd feel the sting, wouldn't you? When you make yourself rare, you shift from being the everyday pen to that one-of-a-kind collectible that they suddenly can't stop thinking about. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it when you realize that your time and attention are valuable. Commodities, you stop giving them away so freely, and trust me, when you pull back and start valuing your own time, others start to value it too. They start to see you not just as someone who's always there, but as someone whose presence is a privilege, not a given." Let's bring in a little humor to lighten this up. It's like when you were a kid and you'd ignore your toys until someone else wanted to play with them. Suddenly, that toy became the most interesting thing in the room. Adults aren't much different. We all want what we think we might lose, and that's exactly what happens when you create a little distance. Now, this doesn't mean you play hard to get or start some kind of mind game. It's about genuinely focusing on yourself, your growth and your happiness. When you're not always around, when you're busy living your best life, they can't help but notice your absence becomes a powerful reminder of your worth. and they start craving that presence they once took for granted. Imagine a scenario where you're always texting, always available for a call, always saying yes to plans. Now flip the script. Imagine you start focusing on your passions, spending time with other friends, investing in your own growth. You're no longer the person who's always there, and that's when they start missing you. They start wondering what you're up to, why you're not around as much, and they begin to crave that connection that they once overlooked. The Rarity Effect is a reminder that sometimes less is more. When you stop giving so much of yourself, you give others the chance to miss you, to value you, and to realize what they stand to lose. It's a powerful tool, not just in relationships, but in life. So take this as a little motivational push. Don't be afraid to step back and let others feel your absence. Focus on yourself and let them come to terms with how valuable your presence truly is. Remember, you are not just anyone. You are someone worth missing, and when you start treating yourself that way, others will too. Human psychology tends to place higher value on things that are rare or hard to obtain. When you no longer want them, you become rare in their world. The scarcity principle in psychology shows that when something becomes less available, people want it more. In the realm of Stoicism, this ties back to managing your desires and expectations. When you stop wanting them, you become less available and thus more valuable in their eyes. The Rarity Effect is potent. What was once abundant and easily accessible now feels precious and worth pursuing. You've created a sense of exclusivity around yourself, and it triggers their need to have what they no longer possess. Number 5. The contrast of confidence. The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive. Seneca. This is where things start to get really interesting. You see, confidence is one of those qualities that is both magnetic and transformative. When you no longer want someone, something remarkable happens. You begin to radiate a new level of confidence. And believe me, they can't help but notice it. Imagine this scenario. You were once wrapped up in someone else's world, perhaps even a bit insecure, always seeking their approval or attention, but then you make the decision to focus on yourself, to let go of the need for their validation. You stop caring so much about what they think, and instead you start caring more about your own growth, happiness, and well-being. It's like a switch flips inside you, and suddenly you're walking taller, smiling brighter, and exuding a sense of self-assuredness that wasn't there before. This change doesn't go unnoticed. In fact, it's glaringly obvious. The person who once took you for granted now sees you in a completely different light. You're no longer the person who was always there waiting for their attention. Instead, you're someone who's thriving on your own, and that contrast between who you were when you wanted them and who you are now that you don't creates a powerful shift in how they perceive you. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By reacting to their indifference with confidence and self-assurance, you're sending a clear message. You don't need them to define your worth. And let me tell you, that's incredibly attractive. Let's throw in a bit of humor here. Think of it like this. You're a caterpillar who's just turned into a butterfly, and they're standing there dumbfounded, wondering where that clumsy little bug went there. Suddenly realizing that you're not just any butterfly, you're one with vibrant wings flying high and free, completely out of their reach. Confidence, my friends, is like a beacon of light in a dark room. It draws people in, makes them curious, and leaves them wondering how they missed it before. When you stop wanting them and start focusing on your own journey, your confidence grows, and with it, their desire for you intensifies. They start to realize that the person they took for granted has evolved into someone extraordinary, someone who doesn't need them to feel complete. And here's the kicker. This confidence doesn't just attract them, it empowers you. Start to see yourself differently too. You realize that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's opinion or affection. You're valuable because of who you are, not because of who wants you. So let this be your motivation. Embrace your confidence. Let go of the need to be wanted and watch as your self-assurance not only transforms you, but also shifts how others see you. You're not just someone's backup plan. You're the main event, the person they suddenly can't stop thinking about, because you're no longer seeking their approval. Remember, folks, confidence is contagious. The more you cultivate it, the more others will be drawn to it. And in the end, you'll find that the only approval you ever really needed was your own. So keep growing, keep shining, and let your confidence be the force that not only attracts, but also empowers you to live your best life. 6. The pain of regret. Confidence is deeply attractive, but there's a unique contrast when it appears after a period of need or desire. When you no longer want them, your confidence surges. You've anticipated potential outcomes and have mentally prepared yourself for any eventuality. This contrast between your former self, who once desired their presence, and your current self, who stands firm in independence, is striking. The shift from neediness to self-assuredness often takes others by surprise. Your new posture of confidence, in a Stoic sense, is rooted in the understanding that external validation is fleeting and unimportant. You've built your internal resilience, and that contrast is appealing. Number 6. Proof that really hits hard. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. The pain of regret never noticed how people often realize what they had only after it's gone. It's like the classic "you don't know what you've got till it's gone" scenario, but with a twist of Stoic wisdom. Imagine this. You've been there for someone, supporting them, caring for them, but they didn't quite appreciate it. Then one day you decide enough is enough. You pull back, you focus on yourself, and suddenly, bam! They're hit with the cold, hard realization of what they've lost. It's like they're walking down memory lane, but instead of enjoying the stroll, they're tripping over the stones of regret. Is a powerful emotion, folks. It has a way of sneaking up on you and whispering in your ear. What have you done? And for them, it's not just about missing you. It's about the deep-wing pain of knowing they had something great and let it slip away. As Seneca wisely said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. But here's the kicker: that end for them is the beginning of their regret. Now, let's be real. Regret can be a brutal teacher. It forces them to replay all the moments they took you for granted, all the times they didn't appreciate your value. It's like they're stuck in a loop, realizing over and over again what they've lost. And that's when they start to want you more than ever. They crave a second chance, even though they know deep down that they may never get it. So if you ever feel like you're not being appreciated, remember this. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to step back and let them feel the pain of regret. It's not about being cruel, it's about letting them see your true worth. And who knows, that regret might just be the spark that ignites a new beginning, one where they finally realize you were always the one they truly needed. Stay strong, stay focused on your growth, and let the pain of their regret be a testament to your value. You're worth it. 7. The mystery of uncertainty. One of the most powerful proofs that they only want you when you no longer want them comes when you truly change your mindset. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of thoughts and perceptions in shaping reality. When your thoughts shift from needing their attention to focusing on your own growth and well-being, your energy changes. This shift is felt by the other person, often catching them off guard. People respond to the energy you project. If your thoughts are rooted in self-worth and inner calm, you radiate strength. The other person, who once may have felt indifferent or complacent, suddenly realizes that you are no longer the same. It's a stark reality check that can hit them hard, making them reconsider their earlier judgments. Number 7. Proof the mystery of uncertainty. Nothing is more wretched than a mind that is anxious about the future. Seneca. One of the juiciest parts of why they only want you when you no longer want them. Imagine this. You've pulled back, stopped sending those "how's your day going" texts, and suddenly they're left scratching their head, wondering what's going on. The uncertainty drives them nuts. It's like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. And let me tell you, people love a good mystery, especially when it's about someone they once thought they had all figured out. You see, when you create a little distance, you also create a lot of curiosity. Suddenly they're thinking about you more, replaying past conversations and wondering what you're up to. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live well." In this case, they start fearing losing the connection they had with you. The less they know, the more they want to know. And here's the kicker. Uncertainty isn't just intriguing, it's magnetic. It draws them in like a moth to a flame. They start to miss your presence and the certainty they once took for granted. So embrace the mystery. Folks, keep them guessing, and watch how quickly they come running back, eager to solve the puzzle. That is, you remember your value doesn't decrease because of someone's inability to see your worth. Keep shining, keep growing, and let them realize what they're missing. 8. The reversal of roles. People are often drawn to mystery, and uncertainty can create a powerful allure. When you no longer want them, you introduce an element of uncertainty into their lives. They are no longer sure of where they stand with you, and this lack of clarity creates a sense of intrigue. The Stoics teach us to accept uncertainty and to not be anxious about the future. This mindset, however, can be unsettling for those who are used to certainty and control. The mystery you create when you withdraw your desires or attention can make you more intriguing, and others will seek to fill that gap by pursuing you more aggressively. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Marcus Aurelius. This one's a real eye-opener, and honestly, it's almost poetic how it plays out. Imagine this: you were once the one chasing the one seeking validation, always there, always available. But then something changes. You decide to step back, focus on yourself, and suddenly, boom, the roles flip. Now they're the ones doing the chasing, trying to win you back. It's like Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury by no longer seeking their approval. You've put yourself in a position of power. They start wondering, wait, why aren't they chasing me anymore? Did I just lose something valuable? And that thought, my friends, is what turns the tables. Imagine you were always the one texting first, always the one making plans. But now you're not reaching out. You're not available, and they feel the shift. They start texting, trying to get your attention, trying to win back what they didn't appreciate before. The beauty of this reversal is that it's not about playing games, it's about recognizing your worth. When you focus on yourself, you become the prize. And here's the motivational part: by stepping back, you're not just gaining control, you're teaching them a valuable lesson about your value. So keep shining, keep focusing on your growth, and watch how the roles naturally reverse in your favor. You've got this. Once, you were the one who sought their attention and validation, but when you no longer want them, the roles often reverse. This shift is rooted in the Stoic concept of not reacting to external influences with anger or resentment. Instead, by staying true to your principles, you naturally allow the dynamics to change without effort or malice. When the roles reverse, they begin to pursue you with the same intensity that you once had for them. This is not out of revenge or manipulation, but a natural consequence of detachment and self-mastery. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own actions and not be overly concerned with others. By doing so, you take control of the situation without playing into their hands. Number 9. The fear of finality. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. When you no longer want them, the ultimate fear they face is the possibility that they have lost you for good. This finality can be terrifying, as humans often cling to what they cannot have. The Stoic approach to life teaches us to face death and finality with acceptance. When you've moved on emotionally, you've metaphorically closed a chapter, and that sense of finality can evoke strong reactions in others. The fear of finality is a deep-rooted human emotion, and when someone feels that they have lost you permanently, they are often compelled to try and win you back. It's a primal response to the fear of losing something valuable forever. You see, when you finally decide to move on, there's this moment of sheer panic that sets in for them. It's like a sudden realization that, wait, this might actually be the end. And trust me, nothing makes someone want you more than the fear that they might lose you for good. Imagine this. You've stopped reaching out, stopped caring, and started living your best life. They see you thriving, and suddenly the thought creeps in. What if they can't get you back? It's a classic case of you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And in that moment they start to panic, thinking, did I just let the best thing slip through my fingers? Maraza once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Well, their thoughts are now dyed with regret, fear, and a desperate longing to undo the finality of your departure. They'll scramble, they'll try to win you back, because the idea of you being gone forever is just too much to bear. So here's the motivation. Friends, keep focusing on you. Let them feel that fear, because it's a powerful reminder of your worth when you choose yourself. You not only grow stronger, but you also become someone they realize they can't afford to lose. These 9 proofs show that when you reclaim your power, focus on yourself and step back, it forces others to confront the reality of losing you. It's not just about making them want you. It's about understanding your own worth and letting them see it too often when it's almost too late.